A real investment in our children's neighborhood public schools and a reduction in standardized testing. That's the message behind a new statewide campaign by the Texas State Teachers Association. And it aims at telling policymakers that education is about more than teaching to the test. The TSTA launched the Invest, Not Test campaign this week. It's online and on social media as well. This is the campaign video, and it's directed at El Paso teachers. The campaign also aims to show Texans are not in favor of vouchers and privatization practices. And joining us now is Noel Candelaria, president of the Texas State Teachers Association. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us here.
So this is a critical time for your campaign because, as you were saying, policymakers are going to be voting on some of these issues.
Yes, right now I think it's kind of the perfect storm when it comes to engaging our parents around these important issues. We have the legislature that's about to get ready to vote on some very important issues around testing and funding for our public schools. Our public schools, on average, we fund about $2,400 less per student than the national average. And so there's important legislation right now that could potentially impact additional funding for our public schools.
Tell us about the legislation for testing. What's on the table right now, and what are you all lobbying for?
Oh, when it comes to testing, what we want to do is reduce the emphasis on standardized testing. We're only using one metric to measure and determine how we're going to punish students, because that's really what it's turned into. It's turned into a mechanism to punish students. When we have a student that doesn't do well on a test, then we take them out of art, we take them out of music, we take them out of PE, and so we're in essence punishing the student. And so we want to, take away the focus of focusing just on one standardized test and looking at all the other measures that we can really gauge student success.
And your campaign also opposing vouchers. Explain to me your position on that.
Well, vouchers right now at a critical time in public education in Texas, especially here in El Paso, when our schools are so underfunded. Vouchers are just taking public money out of the public and putting it into private schools. And so right now is not the time to take public money and put it into private schools.
Okay, for parents though who are watching and who say, I'm a property taxpayer, I pay taxes to my local school district, but precisely because of the issues that you mentioned with standardized testing and teaching to the test, I don't want to send my child to public school. So as a taxpayer, why shouldn't I have the right to send them to a private institution with a voucher?
Well, the parent always has the right. The problem that we have with vouchers is there's no accountability tied to that voucher. Parents don't have the same level of input when you look at your regular public school system through a school board. So there is no standardization there is no accountability system for vouchers like we have for our public school dollars. And so that's one of the biggest issues when it comes to accountability of our tax dollars.
Now, I'm sure I can hear parents thinking, but I also don't feel like there's a ton of accountability in local school districts. There should be, right? And there's a structure for it, but in reality, maybe not so much.
Well, there is accountability. Now, what we want is more parental engagement and also involvement from our business community. These are all stakeholders that really have a vested interest in the success of our local communities' public schools. And so there is accountability structures in there. We just need to be more involved in how they work and be able to work together collectively, because the public school district is owned by the community.
Absolutely. And it starts with those trustee elections. They handle
that's right. And
so much.
And that's why this is so critical at this point, because we have the legislature, we have school board elections going on, and we're in the middle of testing. So it's kind of the right time to be able to engage parents around the important conversation of what it means to truly invest in the children, in the future for our children.
All right. Really informative conversation. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And make sure that people go to investnottest.org to get more information about our campaign.
Okay. Investnottest.org.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.